Time to sand the outer putty. Boy, this thing made lots of dust. Just dust everywhere. Unbelievable. But it had to be done. I was getting a bit worried that the neighbor's gonna start complaining with all that dust. Thank God it didn't happen. Did I put too much putty? I don't know. How would I know? Well, I just finished sanding down all of the outside fiber cement puttying, the gypsum putty, whatever it was called, the rapid set thing, and it's finished. And so that concludes another step. The next step would be to, I guess, clean it down, wash it down, clean it down so that it's ready for painting as a next stage. But I've got a few other things to do before I can move to the painting of the outside. But here's a funny story. When I, not knowing how much it's going to take and how easy or hard this sanding is going to be, I went and bought about 3-meter rolls of sanding paper. And so far, now the job is finished, I actually used one set. One panel that I cut, and I could do another 2 buildings sanding it down before it even shows any sign of wearing out. So yeah, I've got rolls and rolls, but I guess these are a little bit rough. These are the P60. That's what I got recommended for the outside, so these are probably a bit rough, but these are the 120s. They'll be much smoother, so I guess this will be used once I get the inside gyprocs put in. The gyproc or plasterboard or drywall, it's got so many names. So anyway, one of those, when I start putting them in, and because I need to putty them as well, all the corners and all the joints, so I guess this should be enough for all the inside. We'll find out. Yeah, so I got plenty to spare for the next studio. Maybe not. Okay, I have to admit, I couldn't help myself. I was having, nightmares and dreams about it. And the story is my exhaust fan. And, never knowing what the noise level is, it was very hard. I was not sure whether I actually had made the right choice by purchasing this one, or was it too loud? There's no indication. I didn't know, and there was no way of me being able to plug it in and turn it on. So finally, actually, I decided today is the day that I'm going to do it. So I got one of my old power lines and then chopped off the other end and then carefully connected it inside. I know I should have done that, but I was burning to do it. I mean, my background is electronics, so I know what the hell I'm doing. But it's just mains power. It'll be wired up by the electrician when it actually goes up on where it needs to end up. But anyway, I thought I'll give it a try. So I've got my extension power, and I've got my power, and I'm going to connect it, and I'm going to measure the noise level. So I thought I also use some tape measure to measure the distance, and that's a meter right from there to the camera. So right from there, that's a meter away from the camera. So that's the noise you're going to hear. So let's have a quick look of what the noise level will be. So I'm just going to use my mobile phone to measure the dB level with my dB meter. Hopefully I will find it here somewhere. I should have it. And I might have to turn some more lights on and close the door so it's nice and quiet in here. Measure it before and measure after, a meter away, pretty much a meter away from the fan, and see how loud it is. So this should be quite interesting. Okay, so a little bit darker. That's because I've got the door a little bit closed, so it's nice and quiet in here. I've got my dB meter, and at the moment I'm going to go quiet and I'm going to see what the level is. It is with C weighting and slow response. Me being quiet, it actually went down to 35 dB. So that's the ambient noise here, 35 dB. So let's turn it on. And when I talk, normally it goes up to 75, 76 dB, which is what I would expect talking to it, half a meter away from it. So I'm just gonna measure it. Let's plug it in. So we know it's 35 dB quiet. Let's see how much noise this thing will make. Okay, not sure you could see that. I hope. I'll find out during editing. But it actually measured 60 dB, which is not bad. From 35 to 60 dB, that means it only added another 25 dB a meter away from it. Now we're going to remember that this thing is actually be sitting outside. So I'm impressed. And this was the medium range one, so it wasn't the more powerful one, it wasn't the slowest one. And it's giving out nice air. I'll move the camera. So it is blowing up nice steady air as well, so it's quite powerful. I can actually feel it. So there's definitely plenty air being sucked out from here, and obviously I can't feel anything. So, and that's pretty good. So it's not that loud. It's obviously quite loud compared to the silence, and you can see how much 25 dB makes in difference from 35 dB and when it was running down to 60 dB. So you can see the difference in level of noise. But no, it's pretty good. So I guess once it goes out, it's only 25 dB of noise, or in actual fact it's about 60 dB noise that it's creating. So that should be all good. So quite happy with that result. Now I have to unscrew it back and make sure that it's ready for installation when the electrician gets here. But that will be a while because I still have to put the gyprocks in. Well, experiment well done. Okay, here's some thoughts and slight change of plans. Initially I was thinking of using 16mm gyprock or plasterboard or drywall and there are 2 layers of them for the internal plastering. But after we did recording last week here without any gyprock and find out how much noise actually we're getting out. I mean, we weren't making too much noise. It was just congos and bongos and claps, but that was sort of late night as well, and it couldn't be heard outside when I had even one door closed, sort of halfway closed, because I can't close the door fully because I've got extension wire coming in for lights and some electricity here, so we couldn't even fully close it, and because the door actually, there's only got a couple millimeters gap between them, and there's no way of getting other electricity in here. So, and the noise wasn't going out, and also looking at the cost of getting the 16 millimeter plywoods for all around ceiling and the walls was getting a little bit expensive. I'm already over budget now. That's why it's also taking a little bit longer, because I have to wait until I've got enough money to purchase the next set of materials. So I thought I'll actually change the size of the gyprock. Now I tend to now to go ahead and order 13 millimeter gyprock or the plasterboard, and it's still going to be 2 layers of them. So instead of being 32 millimeters thick, it's just going to be 26 millimeter thick. And obviously the double layer of the plasterboard or the gyprock is not to get any thickness, but to actually cover all the gaps, so that when you've got 2 plasterboards next to each other and they get sealed, you get the next one overlapping it, so that the so that there's no air gap, so you fully cover it. So that's the reason why I'm doing the second layer of the plasterboard. And for the ceiling, I thought I'll get a ceiling plasterboard, which is 10 millimeter, but it has different density in it, and it's called Unispan, and that's for ceiling, so the ceiling doesn't sag over time, so it doesn't go down, so it actually stays, even though my it's not a long throw here, but still I thought I'll get them. So there's going to be 20 millimeters, there's 2 layers of Unispan on top of each other for the ceiling, and the standard plasterboard, 13 millimeter plasterboard for the walls. I hope that's going to be sufficient. It's going to be about 1/3 of the cost of getting acoustic 16 millimeter plasterboards. No, probably even less. It's a lot of money, but having the result of what I had the other day, I think it should be sufficient, because I've got so many layers of acoustic treatment here. The noise is pretty much killing it. It's not going out, or it's not coming in. So it's very quiet in here, even with one single door. So I'm pretty sure once everything is sealed, airtight in here with 2 doors, it'll be sufficient. I mean, it won't be fully soundproof, so I could actually blast heavy metal, play Metallica at full blast and not hear it outside, but for the purpose of as a home recording studio and for the budget that I have set, I think it should be well beyond my expectation of what it's going to be. So I just thought I'll pass on that information in case you're wondering why I have changed. So those are the reasons I've decided to actually change. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll find out. Here is something else I should also mention. That's the vent for the outgoing. That's where the air is going to be sucked in from that exhaust vent that you just saw earlier, and the intake is further in. So this is where the fresh air will be coming from. This is more on the inside, because this is where my desk will be, on this side of the wall. So I thought, you know, coming fresh air right where I'm normally sitting is a better option. So I thought I'll mention that and show you how it's all cut and coming through from the ceiling, and that's the exhaust air going out. Well, that's all of my thoughts for today. Till next time. Cheerio.